Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be talking about the Birds of Prey box office because we finally have the first weekend's total numbers, and it is coming in at a whopping $81.250 million opening weekend, with some estimates saying it could be anywhere up to $85 million worldwide. Either way, this film is coming in well underneath $100 million in its opening weekend, and is being compared in the same sentence to films like Jonah Hex, saying that this movie has had the worst DC Comics movie adaptation opening since Jonah Hex. Now, this film is definitely doing much better than Jonah Hex. Let me just get that out of the way. Jonah Hex only made around $10 million in total worldwide. This film is definitely going to make a lot more than that, and has already made much more than that. But when compared it to other films like even Green Lantern, yes, that's right, the ill-fated Ryan Reynolds film, Green Lantern, from several years back, and even Fanforstic from 2015, you're looking at a movie that is going to basically underperform in many ways, and I would argue, as this video is going to be talking about, is in all likelihood going to flop. I would say that at this point in time, if I had to bet, I would bet that this film is going to lose a decent amount of money because it just is not performing in any part of the world, either the domestic marketplace or the international box office. Again, $48 million in every single country that it's opened in so far is really bad. And I just can't underscore that or stress that enough, because I think a lot of people are going to try and make a lot of excuses for this movie as to why it's not doing well, and ignore some of the probably more accurate descriptions from the fact that the marketing for this movie has been terrible, because they don't even know who the hell their audience is for this. They don't know who they want to go see it, unless if their goal was to have everyone at the Mary Sue go to see this movie. Good job. You had those 5 people or however many people are actually working for the Mary Sue went to go see this movie, because that's basically all that there is. You have that very small subsection of the entire world's population that were at all interested in seeing this movie, and those are the people that actually went to go see it. Now, of course, there are DC fans that went to go see it, but from what I've heard from most of them, they did not like the movie. There's some that say they don't hate the movie, they don't think it's the worst movie ever made, but they're all pretty much in common agreement that these are not the comic book characters, and that is a big problem. You don't have these characters established as the Birds of Prey, when in reality, they're not actually the Birds of Prey. In fact, this film is basically Harley Quinn's movie, and they are all these random supporting characters, but then even then, what the characters are actually mentioned and given it a backstory, they just go so far away from what the comics have established that it really just kind of makes you scratch your head as to why they had to make this movie in the first place. Oh, wait, that's right, because they were trying to push a certain message, and whenever you try and push a message into pop culture, when it comes to comic book movies or superhero films or any of that kind of stuff, it's going to lead to a disaster. Go ask Ghostbusters 2016, after they tried to push a message in their film, how well they ended up doing at the box office. This film is said to have a very likely fate to it. So as you can see from Hollywood Reporter, Birds of Prey grounded with $33.3 million. It's worth noting that after they had adjusted their numbers, again, this movie was expected to make 50 to 55 million. Warner Brothers said 45 million in their own estimates, which is conservative by their mark. This film comes in even below their conservative estimate at 33.3. But it's worth noting too that the industry, after they corrected their number, said that it was expected to make 33.5. So even the number that we get is still lower than the actual numbers that they corrected in the first place, which goes to show you that the media will do everything they can to give movies like this as much help and support as they possibly can, which is just, it just shows you the bias that they have, and it just shows you that they have an agenda in and of themselves. They wanted this film to do well. If this film had done well, just imagine those headlines. It would have been, oh my gosh, females sell tickets, and oh my gosh, the Wham, and they sell all the tickets in the world. That would have been the narrative that they spun. That would have been the narrative that they pushed. But because this film didn't do well and is at this point set to flop, and I'll get into that in a second, I think that they're honestly going to be running away and trying to make any excuse in the book, whether it's the coronavirus in China, saying, oh, well, the coronavirus hadn't been a problem in China, then they could have gotten their own version there, even though this film was not scheduled to release in China even before the coronavirus got really crazy underway, because it was a R rating, and likely the censors were like, no, thank you. Even if Warner Brothers had played ball with them, I doubt it would have made that much of a difference, because, let's just be honest, who saw this marketing and said, I need to see this movie? There's maybe a couple of people in the comment section of this video that are going to say, I was one of those persons. Well, good for you. And if you enjoyed the movie, great. And that's one of the things I want to also say. If you enjoy this movie, cool. as long as you can objectively understand that this film has flaws. Again, just based on reading reviews alone, I can tell you that this film has flaws. When even the critics that are praising this movie are talking about the story being nonsensical and the story and the pacing not working, and yet they still say the movie's great because of, political reasons, you can tell from that alone that this movie's going to have a lot of problems. But no one does it better than Scotty Boy Mendelsohn, because he made up 8 excuses as to why this film didn't do well. So it says R rating made it less unique in the marketplace. R rating left the kids out. Bad Boys for Life. He brought up Bad Boys for Life as a reason as to why this film didn't do as well. Online excitement doesn't equal mainstream interest. Guess what? Online criticism does equal mainstream disinterest. How about that? One marquee character, no marquee movie stars. Margot Robbie is a marquee movie star. I'm sorry, but Margot Robbie is pretty much a household name at this point in time. Most people know who Margot Robbie is, especially after her role in Wolf of Wall Street. So I don't think that's a good enough argument either. It was a loose sequel to Suicide Squad without Batman, Joker, or Will Smith. Stop trying to spin it. He did this the other day too. He said Will Smith sells movie tickets. But if that were true, then he would also sell movie tickets for bad movies. But he's even said, when he's in a good movie, it sells tickets. Well, that's because the movie's good. That has nothing to do with Will Smith. If Will Smith was an amazing box office juggernaut, he would not have been in one of the biggest box office flops in Gemini Man. If people were willing to go see Will Smith because they liked Will Smith, they would have seen him in Gemini Man. But they didn't. That movie ended up flopping. So I'm just so sick and tired of these people, these so-called experts who just ignore facts that are in front of their face. Warner Brothers should have titled it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. That I agree with. Marketing was a huge part of this. Should Warner Brothers have waited a week because next week is a 3-day weekend? Even if they had waited, guess what? It wouldn't have made a difference, especially since it would have then been going up and competing against other films. Like I believe Sonic the Hedgehog comes out this weekend, and that would have been freaking hilarious to see if Sonic the Hedgehog could have possibly edged this film out, which, let's be honest here, I think there's a very good chance, because a lot of the positivity around Sonic, that not only could Sonic potentially outdo this movie in its opening weekend domestically, and maybe even foreign total-wise as well, but could potentially also make more in its entire run. Now, we're not there yet. We still need to get the opening weekend numbers for that movie, but I think that Sonic could potentially make an over $100 million opening weekend, which, if that happens, is just going to be freaking hysterical, and I cannot wait to make the videos comparing that, if that is to happen, comparing Sonic to Birds of Prey, and as to why one did well, because guess what? They cared about the fans, they listened to the fans, they heard the criticism and said, we're going to fix it, versus, oh wait, there's fans to this? Oh, this is Black Canary, even though she looks nothing like Black Canary. Oh, she's supposed to be this character right here, or was it Kane? She's supposed to be a martial arts expert, but we're just going to turn her into a random little teenager who hides away from battles. Oh, wait, who are these characters? I actually have no idea who they are because they look nothing like the comic book versions of themselves. So, once again, this is I hope that happens because it will show you a very clear difference. When you listen to the fans and when you respect the fans, you can do well. That's why that movie, Sonic, is now actually projected to make money. That movie was expected to be a box office flop, and yet now, based on the early reactions and based on the box office estimates for that movie, I know I'm planning to see it opening night, and many others on the part of that are part of this channel are planning to see it opening night too. It just goes to show you, fans matter. What the fans want actually matters, and when is Hollywood going to freaking learn that? Instead of trying to push these damn political agendas. But the reason why I say the box office is going to likely flop, or why this movie is likely going to flop, is because at the end, he leaves this cryptic comment, good luck. And he says good luck if the film is going to end up optimistically at the best. Again, being optimistic, he says that the best case scenario for this film is $317 million worldwide, which is terrible in comparison to a lot of the other DC films, but also it does make the film profitable, but just barely. But that's the high end. That's if he's optimistic. But then he brings up, let's say it has a closer, 50-50 split between the foreign and domestic marketplace. You could see it make as low as $168 million worldwide. So if this happens, if you see the split fall away from basically, if the foreign market does not come to save this movie, nothing is. Because the domestic marketplace is not going to. There's a lot of people saying, oh, well, we could see next weekend a lot of women go to see this movie, and that could save it. The problem is that, and their argument is, well, women don't really feel the need to go see movies opening weekend. So this film could actually have great legs domestically. But it just ignores the fact that there are other movies that are going to be coming out. You're starting to get to eventually, you're getting very close to the March-April season, which is, of course, getting those prep movies ready for the summer box office, at that time. It just doesn't seem very likely at this point. So as I said, I think that we can probably say at this point in time that the film is going to, in all likelihood, not break even, and possibly lose box office. It says here, yes, that's hopefully unduly pessimistic, but Warner Brothers has to hope to at least pass 250 to 260. Hope to pass 250 to 260, the totals of Men in Black International, Dark Phoenix, and Dark Fate, and then he ends it with good luck. So even Scott Mendelsohn, for the fact that he is spinning the narrative of this film, even admits that there's a very small chance that this film will likely end up hitting the box office numbers that it needs in order to break even, which is why I think that the number we see here, the negative $94 million, is not likely going to change all that much over the next several weeks. Now, is it going to probably get to negative 50, negative 30 maybe? I would say yes. But based on the numbers that we're expected to get for this movie could end up being about at least a $10 to possibly $30 million loss for Warner Brothers, which would be a terrible news for them, seeing that they wanted this film to be a lower cost. And again, this costs much lower than a lot of the other films that they've had in this marketplace. And if this film doesn't make money, that is just sad and pathetic. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about this. Do you think, with these numbers now coming in, again, as high as $85 million, but even Scott Mendelsohn himself says that is, again, $85 million worldwide is what he says, and according to box office, or rather the numbers.com, this one has it at 81.25. So we're looking at numbers here that are coming in well below expectations, and this film still cost around $100 million to make, again, 97.1 according to many people. So I don't see it. I don't see it. If you're seeing something that I'm not seeing, though, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, make sure you join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're hosting the second annual Wednesday Raven Awards. It is our boycott of the Oscars. We have our own award show here, awarding the best movies of 2019 and the worst movies of 2019. And Lord knows, with a lot of the coverage we've had this year so far for movies of 2020, we're already seeing certain movies that are likely going to end up being some heavy contenders for especially the worst movies of 2020 next year for next year's Raven Awards. But anyway, join us on the channel tonight. Should be a lot of fun. If you like this video, smash the like button, give me a subscribe. It helps me a lot. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now to give a shout out to my February Patreon and Subscribe Star members: animation commentator Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik. Please let me know if I need to repronounce that name. Divex, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weird Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Jeffrey Lebowski, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And over on Subscribestar, Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2Cool99, Darkstar57, Alice McCarthy, US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and ZK Man. And a shout out to Riff Racer Request and Sir Lance Elato. You rock. And thank you very much for being my Patreon Subscribestar members for the month of February. And if anyone else decides to join, at the next couple of days or so, I will add you into this list as well. You guys freaking rock. Have a wonderful one. And as always, God bless.